She laughed in my face when I asked who he was, and everyone at that table thought I'd overreacted, until I decided to show her what overreacting really looks like. Hey everyone, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tell me in the comments if you've ever been made to feel crazy just for being right. Because what I'm about to tell you started on a night that was supposed to be normal. I just pulled into the driveway around 7 after a long day at the factory. It had rained earlier, so the air smelled clean, sharp, the kind of scent that usually helps me forget about work. But that night, the smell of something cooking drifted from the kitchen. Garlic, rosemary, butter. Fancy. Too fancy for a random Tuesday. I walked inside and stopped cold. My wife, Laura, stood by the stove in a navy blue dress I hadn't seen since our anniversary 2 years ago. Her hair was curled, her lipstick perfect, the table already set with candles. She looked radiant, glowing even. For a second, I thought I'd forgotten a special occasion. "What's all this?" I asked, setting my keys down. She smiled like she'd been waiting for the question. "Just dinner. I invited someone from work. He's been helping me on a big project, and I thought it would be nice to thank him properly." That stopped me. "You invited someone? Tonight?" "Yeah," she said, waving it off. "You always say I should network more, remember?" I nodded slowly. "Sure. When's he getting here?" "Half an hour. You've got time to clean up." She said it lightly, but there was something under her tone, a quickness, like she'd been rehearsing. I took a long look at her, then went upstairs, showered, and changed into something decent. When I came back down, the doorbell rang almost on cue. She hurried to open it, and there he was, handsome, confident, expensive-looking. He had that kind of polished charm you only see in salesmen and politicians. "This must be your husband," he said, shaking my hand with an overly firm grip. "Ethan," I said. "Mark," he replied. His watch probably cost more than my truck. We sat at the table, and I realized I didn't belong in my own house anymore. They were in sync, laughing about inside jokes, finishing each other's sentences. Every "remember that time" started with her and ended with him. I tried to play along, asking polite questions, but they barely noticed me. The worst part? She was glowing, really glowing, the way she hadn't looked around me in years. I sat there, chewing quietly, while they fed off each other's energy like two magnets drawn too close. Then it happened. Mark told some story about a client presentation, and Laura laughed so hard she touched his arm. Then she turned to me with a grin that sliced through me. "You're not jealous, are you, honey?" The table fell silent for half a second. Then they both laughed. Like I was the punchline. Like I wasn't sitting there watching my own wife flirt in our dining room. I didn't say a word. I just set my fork down, wiped my mouth, and stood up. "Excuse me," I said quietly, walking out before she could stop me. I could feel their laughter fade as I climbed the stairs. I didn't slam the door, didn't yell, didn't ask why. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor, letting the quiet wrap around me like armor. Downstairs, their voices turned hushed. She probably told him I was being dramatic. Let her. Because in that silence, something inside me shifted. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was calculating. I'd spent years avoiding conflict, swallowing every small insult, every dismissive eye roll. Not anymore. That night, I didn't sleep much. I lay awake listening to the faint hum of her laughter drifting up from below, and every sound branded itself into my memory. When I heard the front door close hours later and her footsteps come upstairs, I pretended to be asleep. The mattress dipped beside me, the faint smell of wine on her breath, and still, I said nothing. She had no idea that silence can be the loudest thing in the world. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. She was still asleep, face peaceful, like nothing had happened. I stared at her for a long time, wondering when exactly she'd stopped seeing me as her husband and started seeing me as a background character. By the time she woke up, I'd already made coffee. She came down in her robe, acting casual. "About last night," she said, brushing her hair from her face. "I think you overreacted a bit. Mark's just a friend." I didn't answer. "Ethan," she said, forcing a laugh. "You don't seriously think there's something going on, do you?" I looked her in the eye and said, "You had a good time. That's all that matters, right?" Her smile faltered. "You're not mad." "No," I said. "I'm not mad." She seemed almost disappointed, like she wanted me to fight. "Well, good. Because you really have nothing to worry about." I nodded, grabbed my keys, and left for work. She thought she'd won. She thought she'd embarrassed me, belittled me, and gotten away with it. But she didn't notice the calm in my voice, the stillness in my eyes. I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Because the truth always finds its way out, and I was about to make sure it did. At work the next day, I moved through my shift like a machine, stacking pallets, signing off manifests, answering questions, but my mind wasn't on any of it. Every sound of laughter from the break room, every message tone from my phone, made me think of Laura and that smug look she'd given me across the dinner table. I didn't want to imagine what was going on in her head, but I knew that whatever it wasn't guilt. It was satisfaction. She thought she'd humiliated me, and she thought I'd just take it. But people forget that silence doesn't mean surrender. It means strategy. By lunchtime, I'd made my decision. I had a friend, Drew, who worked in IT at a tech company downtown. We'd played poker every Friday for years. I knew he could access backups, retrieve deleted files, that kind of thing. So I called him. Hey, Drew, I need a favor. Nothing shady, just a bit of help with some data recovery. He laughed. You finally broke your phone again? Not mine, I said. It's my wife's. Shared account, same cloud, same bill under my name. I just need to check some backups. Messages. There was silence for a few seconds, then his voice dropped. You think something's going on? I know something's going on, I said quietly. Just need the proof. He didn't hesitate. Bring the info by after work. I'll see what I can do. That night, after a long shift, I drove straight to his apartment. He set up his laptop, typed fast, logged into my account, and ran the software. Within minutes, he was scrolling through lines of recovered data. And then he turned the screen toward me. You might want to see this yourself. There it was. 3 months of deleted text messages. Her name at the top. His right below. Mark, you looked incredible today. Laura, stop, you'll make me blush. Mark, I mean it. I can't stop thinking about you. Laura, he's working late again tonight. You free. Mark, always. I felt my pulse slow, not quicken. That's the thing about confirmation. It doesn't ignite rage. It freezes it, sharpens it, turns it into focus. I didn't react. I just kept reading. Dozens of messages. Drinks after work. You still smell like that cologne I love. Wish I could see you again tomorrow. And then, one message from him that caught my eye. I'll check on things at home later. Things at home. The word stuck with me. They were both being careful, vague, as if they knew someone might see. But they weren't careful enough. You okay, man? Drew asked. Yeah, I said. Better than I was. I left with a flash drive full of proof. That night, when I came home, Laura was on the couch scrolling through her phone. She looked up and smiled too brightly. Hey, how was work? Busy, I said. You? Long day, she said, stretching. I might have to work late tomorrow. Big presentation coming up. With Mark? I asked lightly. She froze for a fraction of a second, then smiled again. Yeah, the whole team. It's a group project. Sure, I said, nodding. Want me to bring dinner by the office? Save you the trouble? That's sweet, she said quickly. But we'll probably just order in. You know how it is. Yeah, I knew exactly how it was. She thought she was weaving a story, but every word was rope for her own noose. That night, I opened my laptop and started digging deeper. Mark wasn't hard to find. His name was all over LinkedIn, all over social media, the kind of guy who liked to show off his successful lifestyle. A few clicks later, I found his wife's page, Anna Brennan. She ran a small photography business, family portraits mostly. Her profile picture showed her smiling, one hand on her stomach, clearly pregnant. 7 months, according to her latest post. My hands tightened on the mouse. He wasn't just cheating on me. He was cheating on a woman about to give birth. I stared at her photo for a long time. That warm, unknowing smile. And something inside me hardened. I found her business email easily. It was public. I didn't think twice before opening a new message. Mrs. Brennan, you don't know me, but I believe we need to talk about our spouses. I have information you deserve to see. I'm not trying to cause pain, only to tell you the truth. I attached 3 screenshots, just enough to make her understand, and hit send. Then I sat in the dark, the faint blue glow of the monitor on my face, and listened to Laura humming in the shower. She had no idea what was already in motion. For hours later, my phone buzzed. New email. Subject line, who is this? Her message was short, defensive. If this is some kind of joke, it's not funny. I replied immediately. Not a joke. My name is Ethan Miller. My wife works with your husband. They had dinner at my house last night. I have messages, timestamps, photos. If you want to know the truth, I'll show you. I attached 3 more screenshots. Then I waited. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello. This is Anna Brennan, she said, her voice trembling but steady. I need you to tell me everything. For the next hour, I did. I laid it all out. What I'd seen, what I'd recovered, what I suspected. She didn't interrupt, just listened. Every few minutes, I could hear her breathing, shaky but controlled. When I finished, she whispered, "He's been coming home late for months. Says he's working on client meetings. I'm pregnant, tired, and he's always gone." "I'm sorry," I said softly. "Don't be," she said, her voice turning hard. "You're the first person who's told me the truth. What do you plan to do?" I hesitated, but the answer was already there. I want to confront them. Not in anger. In exposure. I want them both to face it. How? Dinner. She'll think I'm trying to make peace. She'll invite him again. But this time, you show up too. There was silence. Then she said, "You're serious." Completely. Another pause. When? Saturday night. I'll let her think it's her idea. "I'll be there," she said, her tone shifting, strong, deliberate. "And I'll bring everything I have. Bank statements, messages, whatever you need. If he's been spending money on her, I'll prove it." I hung up and sat there in the dark, staring at the quiet living room. Laura's laughter drifted faintly from upstairs. Let her laugh. Saturday was coming. The next 2 days crawled by like years. Laura was cheerful again, humming around the house, making plans, pretending everything was fine. She didn't know that every smile, every casual lie, every fake expression of innocence was another piece of evidence in my mind. Thursday morning, over breakfast, she scrolled through her tablet while sipping coffee. "I talked to Mark yesterday," she said casually. "He said we should all have dinner again soon. Maybe smooth things over." I kept my face still. "That might not be a bad idea," I said quietly. She looked surprised. "Really? Sure. I wasn't exactly in the best mood last time. I could have been more polite. Maybe this weekend." She smiled, relieved, maybe even triumphant. Saturday would work. "I'll text him." I nodded. She thought I was bending, accepting, giving in. But she had no idea that the entire stage was being set. I called Anna that afternoon. "It's on," I said. "Saturday night at 7. Her tone was calm, controlled. "I'll be ready. I'll park down the street and wait for your text when he arrives." 10 minutes after, "Come in," I said. "We'll let them get comfortable first." "Understood." Then her voice shifted, lower, steadier. "I talked to my lawyer. She said to document everything. And I did. Every expense, every charge. He's been spending money like we're made of it. Jewelry, dinners, hotel stays." "Hotel?" I asked, my hand tightening around the phone. "Yeah." Said he was traveling for work 2 weeks ago, but the hotel says there was no company event. I exhaled slowly. "Then Saturday, he'll get the chance to explain himself." She was silent for a moment, then said, "You sure you're ready for this?" "More than ready." That night, Laura came home late again, hair slightly disheveled, makeup faded, that faint perfume that wasn't hers. "Long day?" I asked from the couch. "You have no idea," she said, heading upstairs. "Big things coming at work." "Saturday at 7? I said. "For dinner." She paused on the stairs. "You mean it? You want him to come over again?" "Why not? If he's important to your career, I should be supportive." She smiled, unsure but pleased. "That's really mature of you." "Yeah," I said. "Let's make it a nice evening." Friday was all preparation. I met with my lawyer in the afternoon. His name was Harold Bennett. Older, calm, efficient. I handed him the printed screenshots, the recovered messages, the timeline. He flipped through them without emotion. "You've done your homework," he said. "Virginia's a no-fault state, but proof of infidelity still influences division of assets. If you want out, we can move fast." "I do. I want it clean, legal, and permanent." He nodded. "Then make sure Saturday stays calm. No yelling, no threats. Record the conversation if possible. One-party consent here means it's admissible." I'd already thought of that. I ordered 2 small voice recorders from Amazon, same-day delivery. That evening, they arrived, tiny, discreet, perfect. I tested them both, crystal clear. One would stay in my shirt pocket, the other hidden in the dining room bookshelf. Laura spent Friday night prepping for the big event. She cleaned the house, ironed table linens, even bought new candles. She had no clue that every little touch was just helping decorate the stage for her own exposure. Saturday morning, she woke up early. I watched her moving around the kitchen, radiant, humming to herself. She even went out to get her hair done. When she returned, she'd bought a new red dress. "You look great," I said, and meant it. "You think so?" she asked, twirling slightly. "Perfect for tonight." "Yeah," I said softly. "Perfect." She didn't notice the edge in my voice. By late afternoon, the house smelled of baked salmon and garlic butter. She set the table for three, poured wine, and adjusted the lights. Everything was ready. I went upstairs, checked my pocket recorder one last time, turned it on, and slipped it inside my shirt. At 6:45, I texted Anna. "Still good." "Already parked," she replied. "Waiting for your signal." At 6:50, a car pulled into the driveway. Mark stepped out, carrying flowers. Laura nearly ran to the door to greet him. "You made it," she said, her voice too bright. "Of course," he replied smoothly, handing her the bouquet. "Wouldn't miss it." I stayed in the living room, pretending to be casual. "Mark," I said, standing. "Good to see you again." He shook my hand, forced smile. "Thanks for having me." "Beer?" "Sure." I went to the kitchen, grabbed 2 bottles, and as I opened the fridge, I sent the text, "He's here." 15 minutes, came Anna's quick reply. I returned to the living room. Laura and Mark were already sitting side by side on the couch, talking easily. "So," I said, "Laura tells me you're in marketing." "That's right," he said. "We've been working on a campaign together." "Must be demanding," I said, "especially with a family at home." He froze for half a second. "Yeah, you could say that." Laura jumped in quickly. "Mark's really dedicated to his work. Late nights, lots of pressure." "I'm sure," I said. I checked the clock, 7:10. "You know, marriage can be like that too. Pressure, deadlines, teamwork. Only works when people are honest." The smile flickered on her face, then returned. "You're absolutely right, honey." "So, Mark," I said, leaning back, "how long have you been married?" The question hit its mark. He hesitated, blinked, and said, "It's complicated." Laura frowned. "Ethan, what kind of question is that?" "An honest one," I said. "You are married, though, right?" He shifted in his seat. "Look, maybe this isn't the time." The doorbell rang. I stood up. "I'll get it." Laura looked confused. "Are we expecting someone?" "Maybe," I said, walking toward the door. I opened it, and there she was, Anna. 7 months pregnant, steady eyes, calm expression. "Hi, honey," I said loudly. "Come in." Laura's face twisted in confusion as Anna walked into the room. Mark went pale, almost white. "What is this?" he muttered, standing quickly. Anna didn't even look at me. She looked straight at him. "I was going to ask you the same thing." Laura looked between them. "Wait, what's happening?" "Everyone," I said evenly, "this is Anna, Mark's wife." The room went silent. So quiet I could hear the wine glass trembling in Laura's hand. Mark's mouth opened, but no words came out. Laura's confusion turned to horror. "You said you weren't." Anna's voice cut like glass. "Weren't married? Weren't expecting a child? Weren't lying to both of us?" Mark took a step forward. "Anna, let's not do this here." "No," she said, voice shaking but firm. "We're doing this right here. Right now. In front of everyone you lied to." I closed the door quietly and leaned against it. The confrontation had begun. Mark's face drained of all color as Anna stood there, her hand resting on her pregnant belly like a silent warning. Laura looked from her to me, realization creeping across her face as the pieces started falling into place. "Ethan, what is this?" "Who is she?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I told you," I said quietly. "She's Mark's wife." The words hung in the air like smoke, thick and choking. Mark tried to speak, but Anna stepped forward, her voice sharp and cutting. "You've been lying to me for months. Late nights, fake meetings, client dinners that never happened. While I've been home painting the nursery, you've been here." Laura's lips parted. "Nursery?" she whispered. "You're 7 months pregnant," Anna said flatly. Surprise. Mark ran a hand through his hair, looking like a trapped animal. "This isn't what it looks like," he muttered. I almost laughed. "You're right," I said. "It's worse." Laura's voice shook as she looked at him. "You told me you were divorced." "I said it was complicated," he snapped. "You assumed." "Don't you dare blame this on me," she said, her face turning red. "You lied to me, Mark." "You both lied," I said calmly. "The difference is, only one of you did it in my house, twice." Anna pulled a stack of papers from her bag and tossed them on the coffee table. Credit card statements, hotel receipts, jewelry store transactions. You bought her gifts with our joint account. While I was home worrying about your health, you were spending our money on your affair. You went through my accounts? Mark shouted, his voice cracking. They're our accounts, she shot back. My name's on them too. Laura took a step back, shaking her head. Ethan, I didn't know. I swear I didn't. I looked at her, the woman I'd spent years building a life with, the woman who used to laugh with me, not at me. You didn't know he was married, but you knew what you were doing wasn't innocent, I said. The late nights, the deleted messages, the way you touched him at dinner. Don't insult me by pretending. We just connected, she said, voice breaking. It wasn't supposed to go this far. But it did, Anna said coldly. And now you get to see the damage. Mark sank onto the couch, face buried in his hands. Laura stared at the floor like the pattern in the rug held all the answers. I leaned against the wall, calm but unflinching. I could scream, I said quietly. I could throw you both out. But I'm not going to. Because the truth doesn't need noise. It speaks for itself. Anna's voice softened, but the edge was still there. You've been lying to me while I carry your child, Mark. I've been alone every night, wondering why you didn't come home, thinking you were working to give us a better future. And you were here. He looked up, eyes wet. I didn't mean for it to happen. She laughed bitterly. People always say that, as if accidents last for months. Laura turned toward me, tears streaming down her face. Ethan, please. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I shook my head slowly. No, Laura. You can't fix something that died quietly while you were too busy chasing excitement. You didn't just betray me. You made me question every moment we ever had. She reached out to touch me, but I stepped back. Don't, I said. You made your choice. You just didn't think I'd make mine. Anna turned to me. I think I've heard enough. Thank you for telling me the truth. She looked at Mark. You can come home later to pack your things. Or don't. I don't care. My lawyer will contact you. Anna, please, don't talk to me, she said firmly. You talk to your lawyer. She picked up her bag, turned to me, and said, take care of yourself, Ethan. You did the right thing. You too, I said quietly. She nodded once, strong and graceful, then walked out. The front door closed softly behind her, and for a few seconds, the only sound in the room was Laura's sobbing. Mark stood up, his face pale, hands shaking. I should go, he muttered. You should, I said. And fast. He hesitated for a moment, glanced at Laura, then turned and walked out without another word. The silence that followed was heavy, suffocating. Laura collapsed onto the couch, covering her face. Ethan, please, she whispered. I made a mistake. I was stupid. You were cruel, I said. You laughed at me in front of him. You made me feel small in my own house. You don't get to come back from that. I still love you, she said through tears. You love what I gave you, stability, comfort, a place to fall when things went wrong. You don't love me. You love the idea that I'd never leave. I walked upstairs, grabbed the small duffel bag I'd packed earlier, and came back down. She looked up, panic in her eyes. Where are you going? Away, I said simply. You'll get papers next week. My lawyer's already ready for it. You're divorcing me? You divorced me the night you brought him here, I said, opening the door. She followed me to the porch, crying openly now. What am I supposed to do? She choked out. I don't know, I said, turning to face her one last time. Maybe ask Mark. You two seem to have everything figured out. Then I walked to my truck, started it, and drove away. I didn't look back. Not once. That night, I checked into a small hotel on the edge of town. The room was plain, quiet, clean. For the first time in months, I slept without waking up to the sound of her phone buzzing. By Monday morning, the divorce paperwork was filed. She called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer once. A week later, Anna called. Her voice was steady. He moved out. My lawyer says we'll finalize soon. How are you feeling? I asked. Lighter, she said. Angry but free. He's not the man I thought he was. None of them are, I said. What about you? Same, I replied. It hurts, but it's done. That's what matters. We did the right thing, Ethan, she said softly. We stopped letting them lie to us. Yeah, I said. We did. Months passed. The divorce went through quickly, clean, uncontested. I sold the house, bought a smaller one near work. No more guessing, no more pretending. Just quiet. Just mine. Sometimes I'd think about that night, about Anna walking in like justice wrapped in calm strength, about Laura's face when the truth hit her. Not with violence, not with shouting, but with reality. Truth doesn't need to scream. It just needs to show up. Life after betrayal isn't easy, but it's honest. And that's more than I had for a long time. If you've ever been in my shoes, you know the silence that follows isn't empty, it's peace. It's freedom. It's the sound of finally choosing yourself. Thanks for listening to my story. If it hit close to home, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Because sometimes, the quietest revenge is living well and never looking back.